swear I do not believe it. And they are back on terms.
Hello and welcome to a very happy New York talk. We have a splendid and fantastic Saturday afternoon to talk about, and then we've got another tough Tuesday to talk about as well, with Wycombe Wanderers coming to New York. As things stand, we have a two-man podcast today. We've got myself, Matt, and we've got Danny with me as well.
Hello.
Mick is on his way back from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the NFL, so he may pop in and out of this as he makes his way home. But other than that, you will have to put up with me and Danny for the next hour or so. As always, we're live through Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So if anybody's watching wants to send some comments and thoughts on Saturday's game and look ahead to Tuesday as well, get involved because we always appreciate any input. Danny, we all predicted on Friday's podcast be a close game, 1-1, 1-0, blah, blah, blah. It could not be further from the truth, could it?
No, not at all. I mean, I went for one. No, it's like, is that a bit too ambitious? You know, us winning just by a single goal. It turns out we won by 3 and scored 4. So yeah, I think it caught a lot of people off guard, that result, because, like you say, we all expected a close game, and at times it was a very close game. And when Portsmouth equalised, I thought, could they, steal another one and go on with it? But then we just broadsided them and won 4-1. So you can't really complain, can you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Let's try and see if he's with us. Michael, can you hear us? No, Michael cannot hear us. So that's
hello.
He can't hear us, so that's fine. We can't have mixed views. So it was a very topsy-turvy game. It sort of went 20 minutes. They were the best team. We then came into it as a better team. Then they made the mistake, and then talk about that 10-minute football in a minute because that was just special. But the first 20 minutes, Danny, like I mentioned, then I think you've got to sort of get hats off to Pompey a little bit. The way they set up in that first period of time, although they didn't really hurt us and they had maybe 1 or 2 shots, which didn't really cause any problems, they set up to frustrate us, and we could not get going in that first 20-25 minutes all.
No, you could tell immediately they came into the game with a game plan from the first minute, which was to disrupt us and keep hold of the ball, and I think try and grab an early goal, and I don't know, maybe sit on it, but at least try and do something that would hurt us early on. And if it wasn't for a stunning save from Victor, they would have gone 1-0 up, because I don't know how he saved. He sort of saved it with his shoulder. The vlog's up on the YouTube, so if you watch the vlog, you can see how Victor saves it. I don't know. He's like sort of gone down to save it, but he sort of misjudged how the ball's travelling, and then I think it's took a
deflection, hasn't it?
Yeah, it must have done.
When I watched it live, I didn't think anything of it, but when you watch it from your vlog, it looks like it's took a nick off somebody, and that's why. I might be wrong. He might have misjudged it.
Yeah, but still, brilliant save from Victor.
Yeah, definitely. That was the only real problem, weren't it? From that corner, they had a corner which led to nowhere. But we talked about this before. The Cowleys, they did the same 2 or 3 years ago with Lincoln. They came in, and that day they got the early goal and frustrated us and killed us, just killed the game off. But yeah, we talked about Portsmouth in the preview show. I was disappointed from putting my neutral head on. I was disappointed with them. They didn't, other than frustrate us, we had to give them the opportunities for them to cause us problems. And if they want to be where they want to be, they're going to need to change that.
Yeah, excuse me, my voice is still sore from Saturday.
Mine is.
But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, if you were to watch it as a neutral, you could say Portsmouth is a team that is probably good in for promotion. To put in a performance like that and only score from a mistake from us, it's like, you're trying to be fearsome in this league, but you've got no bite about you. I mean, opening 20 minutes, they absolutely murdered us all over the pitch, but they didn't have that final product to go and get a goal from it. And it's like Will said on the preview show, they are a very low-scoring team, which could become an issue come end of the season and in terms of picking up results, because if you don't score, you're probably not going to win.
No, definitely, exactly. Yeah, bang on right.
It was Michael Owen that said you need to score goals to win football games.
yeah, that sounds like him. Richard Smith says the ball was moving in the air for the Victor chance. one way or the other. Yeah, eventually made a very, very good save.
Yeah.
First I watched the game back through the iFollow, which you can do. And in my head, the first 20 minutes, I felt like we could not get a touch of the ball. And I thought they were dominant. Watching it back, we still didn't put 5 or 6 passes together, but they weren't as good as I thought they were first time around. It was quite interesting watching it back. All they did was stop us from playing, which I suppose could work for you, but it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt us, and I would be frustrated as a Pompey fan if that's where they're going to set up all season. They're not going to go up because there's better teams than them, obviously.
I'd be frustrated as a Pompey fan seeing Michael Smith score a brace.
Yes, let's move on to the first goal. A lovely bit of football, to be fair. Rathbone's done really well, Griggs done well, and then the pass from Hardin's just something else. And Michael Smith pops up for the time. It was his 9th goal of the season. And you mentioned there, Danny, I am such a big fan of Michael Smith celebrating in front of opposition fans. And the fact he used to play for him, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, he said in an interview he's got no animosity towards Portsmouth. He enjoyed his time there, but obviously the Pompey fans didn't enjoy him being there. And he's come round and come good. And I think because they were giving him grief from the stands, he's done what Michael Smith does, and he scored and he gives it back.
So good.
He pointed to his name on the back of his shirt as well, which you can only see on the highlights. But that was brilliant. It was so funny.
It was a well-worked goal, actually. And that after that 20-minute spell we scored on whatever it were, half-hour mark, that's when we started to come into the game. Up before, there wasn't just the goal that changed it for me. It was leading up to the goal. We started playing a bit better, started being a bit more composed on the ball. But then that goal up to half-time, it was our game. They were up until the goal. It was our game to lose, really. We were so comfortable. You could see their spirit had been knocked off. It was a pleasure to watch at times, but up until the mistake, which we'll come on to for Wiles, we were comfortable, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. You could tell by the way we were knocking the ball around and how confident we looked, especially, on the left-hand side. We looked very confident going down there, and I think a lot of the players had games of their season so far. I think Wiles had a really good game. He seemed to be everywhere, as did Rathbone and Smith. Miller did really well. And yeah, I mean, like you said, the only real downside is that their goal came from a mistake. But in terms of playing football, we were in control of the game from probably the 25th minute onwards.
Yeah, I think for me that's a fair assessment. It was just getting after that goal. It was then about getting through to half time. If you can nick a goal, brilliant. If you just stay in front, because all their goal was only going to come from a mistake, and as it showed in the second half, it did come from a mistake. So let's talk about the goal again. At the time, I was sitting with Mick, and at the time, Barley's, we obviously knew Barley had made a mistake. Reg could have done better as well. In the lead up to it, Reg could have come in and took the ball away, and then when Barley took his touch, he then found himself in a bad situation because I don't think he could have gone back to keeper because Reg was in the way. If he tries to put it there, that then puts a little bit of an issue on it. So I'm not trying to take the blame away from Barlaser, but it could have helped out, and it was just frustrating. One of the best technical players on the pitch, Danny, and he just has a brain fart.
Yeah. I mean, like I say with Reg could have done a little bit better in terms of being a bit more defensive, defensive cover. But it almost seems as if it surprised everybody that Barles has lost the ball, because usually in those situations he just spays the pass out to somebody and you just carry on with it. But it's the fact that he's lost it, and Portsmouth had that desire going forward to equalise, that they've probably worked on the counter-attack situation in training, and they've gone, right, ping to him, and he's had a crack at it from edge of box and it's gone in. Now, if it had gone wide, that would have been more preferable to us. But in those situations, they do tend to go wide because the chance sort of comes at them too quickly, or they try and rush the way through it. But fair play to Harness, was it, who scored for them? Yeah, fair play to him for having the composure just to knock it into far corner. And I mean, like I say, usually they go wide, so the keepers don't really have the save to make in those situations. But Victor were beaten with a shot like that. So the finish you can't complain at. It's just unfortunate that Barlaser, who is one of the best on the ball players we've got at the minute, is the reason why we conceded. But as I'm sure we'll get onto in a minute, he made amends later on.
He did, and it were a great reaction. Straight away, he were down on the floor just because he's so frustrated. And from a good point of view, that shows that he cares. It's not one of these where he's made a mistake and it's just off we go again. It's clearly important to him and the players, because there were a couple. I know Victor had a go at him, as Victor does, but everybody else was sort of positive and rallying around him. And then that's when the changes started happening. It was a 2 or 3 minute spell down where Portsmouth seemed to grab the initiative a little bit, and it was literally 2 or 3 minutes where we just couldn't get hold of the ball. Whenever it came into box, it seemed a bit panicky. But again, they were panicky. But it was sort of like Pompey were going, "Oh my God, we've got a chance. We must do this." There were never any composure from them, even in that spell, were there? It was just they let us have that spell. It was like a bit in boxing. You know, if you've got a guy out stumbling, a good boxer finishes it. Pompey couldn't do that yesterday.
Yeah, I think like I said, the 2 or 3 minutes after the goal, it was just their sheer desire to try and get in front and then obviously try and sit on it and defend it out. But like you say, it's like in boxing, when you take the big hit, it's the other guy's effectively job to try and win the fight. And so he just tries to pummel you. But if you can ride it out and then land a few punches of your own, which we did, then that's how you see it out. But all it took with those 2 or 3 minutes, and like I say, it was a bit of a stumble for us. But overall, we've just sort of steadied ourselves, got going again, and then, just took the game to them and effectively turned it back into the first half where we were just on top.
Yeah, no. So that after the goal became when things changed, and partially because of enforced substitution, Icky had to come off. I think it's a groin. Is it a hamstring injury? Do we know, Danny? It's
a groin injury. I think he's pulled his groin.
So he had to come off. It looks like he might be out for Tuesday, which we'll come into the preview part in a bit. But he came off, so Chio came on the right wing back, and Harding came over to left. Just on Harding before we move on to the action. I thought he had a really good game, Danny, both as right wing back and as left centre back. I thought it was fantastic yesterday, Harding.
Yeah, but I do. I think he played really well on the right side, which just goes to show that even when Chio potentially picks up an injury or is a bit low after international break, we have got adequate cover. Like, we seem to have got adequate cover everywhere on the pitch. I mean, like we said, Icky's out and there's a potential injury with Victor, but no one seems overly worried because we know we've got good depth to cover it. But like you say, with Harding, he did a job at right wing back, got an assist from it as well. And then did a job at left side of centre back, and he didn't really look out of place because he sort of knew, right, this is my new job. I need to get my head down and do it, and he did. And you can see why Warren does play him as left side of centre back, because he knows how to defend in that position. But now you can also see the headache of why can't we play him on the right? Is it because Gio and they can both do a job there? So yeah, it's another thing on Warren's mind that will probably torment him this weekend. Like, what do we do Tuesday?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very true. On to, one of the most brutal 10 minutes of football you could wish to see. Starting with Michael Smith's second goal of the game to take it to 10 to the season. This one was just his desire to get the goal. Rathbone had a shot which the keeper's obviously made a mistake from. Talk about Barley's and making mistakes. Their keeper's made a worse one. And it was just his confidence and his desire to, I am going to score this goal. And it took back in the goal. But it was just, that is Michael Smith, how he is right now. It's just superb, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, the fans who were sat around me started calling the keeper Butterfingers. Because I think it was the second time he dropped the ball, the first time he got a foul. Whereas this one, he's sort of gone to bounce the ball and it's come off his foot. But yeah, like you say, the sheer desire of Smith to score, probably influenced by the Portsmouth fans giving him a bit of grief as well. But please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, but I think it's the first backheel goal scored at New York Stadium.
I think it might be, yeah. If anybody's got any...
if someone's got the stat where the other goal is, please let me know, but I've never seen one. And it's almost as if, like, his first go at it, it was really good defending from Raggett because he's just sort of thrown his body at it and blocked it. But then as the ball's come out, Smith just spun round and backheeled it in, and it's so cheeky to do something like that. But it sort of shows the player that Michael Smith is under us, because he's got that much confidence just to even try it. If you've got the confidence to do it, just try and do it, and he has, and he scored a brace, so and put us back in front as well, which is the important bit.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. It's taken up to 10 goals for the season, as we mentioned. It's now taken to 46 goals for the Millers, so obviously just below that magic 50. For all our older listeners, in the list of Rodham goal scorers, it takes both Ian Wilson and Trevor Womble. For anyone that's interested in those kind of stats, they are before my time. So,
a long time before mine. Whew.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's having a superb season, and I don't know what more. He's one of them players that Danny, we've spoken about him a lot, and I'm struggling to find more words to justify and back up how good he's been. But he has just been superb. There's not that's all you can say really. He's just been exceptional, and he's probably the best striker in the league.
Yeah, I mean, even Danny Cowley said he's League One's best striker, which is some compliment coming from the opposition manager. And I think it made it even more special that it's his birthday today as we're live doing this, and he scored a brace the day before his birthday. Bit of a shame that his wife can't go to the Deep in Hull with him and his daughter. So she'll be on naughty step when he gets back home. But yeah, so happy birthday, Smudge, if this somehow finds you at the training ground next week. But yeah, it's like you say, you can't put it really into words because it feels as though they've been said already. But he's an amazing player for us. He's come good with us, and this season's his best season in a Miller shirt. And he's getting ever so closer to that Alan Shearer shirt that Richie Barker promised him. And if you get 25, you're having it. And he's like, Richie, I'm on 10. I'm nearly there.
Yeah, I like that.
That's probably why they took him off, so he didn't score another one.
Yeah, I was a bit gutted when he came off. I thought they're going to get hat-trick here, but saving for Tuesday is obviously more important. It's just compare him as well. If you compare him to the last time in League One, it took until the end of January for him to get 10 goals. And he's got 10 goals and we're only halfway through October. So that just shows how much he's worked on his game and he deserves what he's getting. There's no other player. He has clearly worked as much credit as Paul Warren and Richie Barker, I'm sure, deserve in terms of developing as well. He's got to want to do it, and he is wanting to do it, and he's shown how determined he is to improve himself. If it means a good end of season to a bigger and better opportunity, so be it. That's football, that's life. But the longer we can keep that man at our club, the club will be a better place for it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, 100%.
And then, like I said, that started. I called it brutal. Mick called it one of the most devastating 10 minutes of football. It was just relentless. It was breathless. We were going to score 3-4. It felt like we were going to score 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. We just didn't look like they knew how to deal with the way we were playing in that spell. It was superb stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I've called it a broadside just to have a little dig at Portsmouth naval history. but it is as if we've in the second half after they've scored, we've just come up alongside of it and just given them all barrels that we've got.
Yeah.
And Smith's goal was cheeky and it just sort of set the ball rolling. And it's like Paul Warren said, that's how we can be if we take our chances. And if we can be that devastating to teams who are one of the stronger teams in the division, you know, it's like if you take a chances, we could be winning 4-1 every week. I mean, that's a vast overstatement that we are going to win 4-1 every week. But it just goes to show what we're capable of. But at the same time, we weren't completely on song during the game. You know, I still think we played better during the Crew game in terms of playing football. But this time around, like with Wimbledon as well, when we take our chances, we can score 3 goals easily. But it's when you play really well and don't take your chances when you allow the opposition back into the game. But yeah, we took our chances, and like you say, we could have scored probably 7 in that second half because you had Griggs' chance where the keeper just beats him to it. You've got I think it was Miller's free kick from the right hand side. Barley's free, it was. Barley's free kick from the other side, which he was more or less a carbon copy of what he did against Blackpool. Then you've got Freddie. Now we'll come on to that in a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
but he's fumbled it. Maybe he saw the offside flag. I don't know. And then you've got Woods and Wiles scoring as well. So like, it's nail on head, devastating football. And it's just a shame that it won't. Well, for us, it was a shame it won't more.
Yeah, absolutely. John C mentions in the comments, listen to Radio Solent commentary, and they stated they didn't want to turn into a hammering when it was 4-1 at the time. It could have been more. That sort of sums it up when the opposition commentary. I was sort of saying it like that. The third goal is really the redemption of Dan Barlaser, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because all right, let's throw a load of question marks on the defending, but we'll let a Portsmouth podcast question that part of it. The ball is stunning, and if you don't want Michael Smith on the header, you want Richard Wood on the header, and it's his first goal of the season, and he enjoyed it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I mean, when I saw the footage back that it was put on Twitter, I honestly thought he was giving the bird to the Portsmouth bench because it was a little bit grainy because I was on 4G, and it's like, is he giving the bird to their bench? But he was doing his rock celebration that he does on the gift. So, all right. But yeah, but for Wood to get his first goal, you can tell he's been itching after it because when he was on the podcast with us, he wants to score. He's a goal scoring defender, if you like, and he has been itching after it. And now that he's got it, that'll probably give him a lot more confidence as well to be able to drift a bit further forward and to get his head on stuff more. But yeah, you can tell by more or less the primal scream from all the fans in the North Stand when he scored. We all really wanted him to score. And now that he has, brilliant.
There's that video on Twitter from, I think it's Lisa Twigg, who also videoed it from the sponsors box. And it's just a picture, not just the Woody goal, but the crowd in the background. It just looks spectacular.
Yeah, it does.
I'm so chuffed for Woody. And the strange thing with defenders is if you get one goal, defenders tend to get 2 or 3 more. I don't know why, but it just tends to be one of those things. He hasn't scored in a while, Woody. And he couldn't miss, to be fair. If he'd have missed, everybody would have been fuming because he couldn't believe his luck that they were so unmarked. Yeah, it was very, very good. Let's go through some comments before we come on to Wiles because we need some time to talk about him, don't we? Jamie says, really thought we would miss Crooksy this season, but Rathbone is just going to be so much better. Yeah, absolutely. Rathbone has been superb.
Yeah.
Shelstone, I think this is about the Smithy one. Instead of the time, it was a dirty goal. We don't score those. I love that. Yeah, very. Addock says, told you before, if he keeps scoring, he'll be gone, Smudge. Then, or should I say before it happens, one could do a lot of worse looking at Cole Stockton, all hypothetical as he says, but let's hope it doesn't happen. Yeah, that's probably a conversation for the other day. But yeah, Annoyance with us a bit late tonight. But what a game yesterday. It was the first time in a while, and we were brilliant second half. The only downside was the lino on the family stand. We'll come on to the referee. We'll talk on to the officials' performance later on as well. Because that takes some talking as well. I'm glad Mick's not here for that bit. And then the final nail in the Portsmouth coffin was Ben Wiles' goal. Before we talk about Ben Wiles, the work by Mikael Miller, you mentioned Mikael Miller earlier, the work by Mikael Miller to set that goal up was fantastic. And he's showing he's getting his chance and he's showing what he can do in keeping other players out of the team.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it'll be a fun battle in training between Miller, Boller, and Ferguson as to who gets on that left side because Miller's he's like he's a little bit like Chio when he first came to the club, but on the opposite side because Chio he had the pace, but he didn't really have the direction when he first came. It's like when he played against who did he make his debut against? Was it Peterborough?
It was somebody like Oldham or somebody, I think.
And anyway, whoever it was, he came on and you could see it might have been Tranmere. Anyway,
you might right, yeah.
Yeah, so, he came into the side and you could tell he had pace to burn, but he couldn't really find that footballing side to it. And I think Miller was the same, and that's why I think the loan to Northampton's helped him because it's shown him how to direct the football more rather than just having the pace. And it's going to show this season because I think it's his second assist this season. If Will were here, he'd tell me. But yeah, I think it's his second assist, and it's a brilliant assist because he's worked really hard with his pace, but he's shown the football side of it, got the ball into the box. And I mean, credit to Wiles, his touch to set himself up and then banging it into the opposite corner. Great stuff. But it was created by Miller on that left-hand side. So again, Warnie, if you're listening or anyone from the management team is listening to this, good luck with sorting that left side out. Won't want your job.
No, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. You are right. It was Tranmere who he made his debut against 31st of August 2019 was his first game. I think he got injured straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll look at the save from the keeper in the second half. The keepers were at fault for one of the goals, and has made a couple of stunning saves. Had a very busy afternoon there, keeper. I know he's only a young kid, but is going to be very busy. If that's I suppose we keep keepers busy, don't we? Ben Wiles, even the captain performance with a goal, which was his 4th goal of the season. I know it's fairly early on in his career, but so far he's already his highest scoring season so far, beating the last time in League One. You mentioned the goal, Danny. It was superb. He turned from nowhere onto his weaker foot and buried it. It was just that guy gets better and better every game, better and better and better.
Yeah, he does, and I mean it's a testament to the management team as well. They've taken the guy from the academy, and granted, in the Championship he was played at left back, but because Wiles has that love of the club and that ability to adapt, that's why he was seen as a bit of a utility player. But this season, now we've got adequate cover more or less in every position. It just goes to show how good he can be when he's played in the advanced midfield position. And like I say, 4 goals this season, more than every other Rotherham season he's played in combined. And he has. You can see why they say from training he's going to go on to do brilliant things and possibly play at the highest level. And now we're starting to see it, which is unfortunate because other clubs will be starting to see it as well. Yeah. But yeah, the goal to say he took a touch, turned, and then like I say, hit it with his weaker foot through 2 defenders. It's like. Wow. All I can say, wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And their keepers had a good game in shot stopping. He's obviously had other issues. But to beat the keeper when he's in that sort of shot stopping form was obviously very impressive. It was a bit more on him, I suppose. He didn't start the season amazing. He has had his problems. I think Barlaser coming in has helped him because we're not asking him to sit. Ben Wiles is clearly the best position for me. Is a bit further forward. And I think Barlaser helps that. Barlaser will sit in there. He can ping it around, quarterback it a little bit. But those two complement each other. It's a little bit like Barlaser and Crooks. Barlaser gives him that little bit of security to say, right, you can go and do what you want to do. I'll sort of cover this area of the pitch without taking anything away from him. But I don't think Barlaser loses anything by doing that. Whereas if you ask Wiles to do that job, I think you take away from Wiles' game, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. And I think Barlaser... his game is to just sit a little bit behind the advanced 2 midfielders, ping it around, play some good balls, have an absolute wild foot when it comes to free kicks, and yeah, be our like Warney says, be our quarterback in a sense. And I'm sure Mick and Ben will like that one after they've been to the American football. But Barlaser does operate as our quarterback, just slightly behind the advanced midfielders, which will be Wiles, Rathbone, or Lindsay when he comes back. And it just seems to suit the players we've got. Like I know people have their issues with the 3-5-2 and all that, and it does have its disadvantages. But for the midfield options we've got, it's the best thing because you can play an advanced line of 4 if you can include your wing backs, and now Barlaser just sitting slightly behind him, and it works. And as we've seen, it's worked really well. Speak of the devil.
Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Ben's here. Hello, Ben. I think Mick might be with us as well. Bear with me. Mick, can you hear us?
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Yeah.
As you can tell, Mick's voice is knackered from game yesterday.
Yeah. Slightly hoarse after that yesterday, yeah.
Thank you for joining us. We'll sort of set the record that Ben didn't go to the game yesterday. He is a London boy, but I assume you've watched the goals, Ben.
Yeah, I watched goals.
Mick, we'll talk about that 10 minutes of spell of football while you're with us, because you might drop back out. And the background noise is Mick at a service station for a minute's interest.
That's one KFC, mate.
What are you having?
Don't know yet. I ain't got in yet.
So if you hear Mick placing his order. Okay.
Mick, what do you think of the goal? Bargain bucket, please.
Mick, the 10-minute spell of football.
Be cold by the time I get to you, mate.
That spell of football was just. We talked about this last time we got promoted. We had a similar spell in one of the games. I feel like we could do this a bit more, but it was just unplayable. I don't think any team in this league could have put up wheels in that 5 to 10 minute spell, could they?
I think we talked about it just beforehand. We talked about it just beforehand, where we said that we felt like we got another gear, and then they brought Chio on, and all of a sudden, it was just devastating. It was devastating for that 10 or 15 minutes, and they just couldn't live with us. And from that point on, really, could they?
No, definitely not. Ben, we were just talking about Ben Wiles before you came on. The goal itself is how well it's turned on nothingness. And that guy is just getting weak and better and better. It's just a pleasure to watch.
I mean, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looked like in real life, but on the highlights, it was like, what? Like, where's it gone? Because it looked like he just could. I thought he was going to get blocked and he was going to get a rebound. Because I knew he scored, but I just thought he was going to get like. It's just, I don't know. It was left foot as well, if I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's crap, isn't it? I don't know why he's still playing for us.
All that sticker again at the start of the season.
Hey, listen, that's football fans play it. Is amazing. It's always been amazing. I mean, 3 bad performances doesn't make you a bad player. I don't know if Mick's laughing at me or someone at the service station. But yeah, 3 bad performances.
Salad from KFC, that's what it is.
But yeah, 3 bad players doesn't make you a bad. 3 bad performances doesn't make you a bad player. And I went with the game obviously, but apart from Mick was raving about him. And we've always seen what he can be. I mean, even the game, I can't remember who it was against when he played in Cup, like his first 2 games. I can't remember
first game ever.
Yeah, first game ever.
It was against
5 years ago.
It was against Chesterfield.
He had a great game.
He was superb. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I mean, he's just Mr. Reliable. I feel like. I think he's quality. I'm so glad he's ours.
For now.
We can claim him, can't we?
Yeah, well, that's it. It will always be Rotherham. You know, he's from Rotherham. He's a Romosh boy. He's ours. Stephen Anderson's with us from Romosh. Up the Millers from the Romosh Chit Chat group. Thank you for joining us, Stephen. For me, Danny was man at match. I think Smith ended up winning it, but Wiles it was. I know Smith has got the goals. I understand why you're giving it him. But Wiles it was. We've talked about it a couple minutes ago. It's just what you want in a midfield player.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few candidates for man of the match, like Smudge because of his brace. I think they give it Smudge because it was his birthday.
Yeah.
For his birthday?
Yeah, it's his birthday.
Today. It's birthday today, yeah.
Oh, that's a great day, that, isn't it? Scoring against your team. Birthday.
Yeah, it went to Smith, but you could have had Wiles, Miller, Harding, anyone. But like you say, I think Wiles edges it in terms of our thought process, just because of the work he's put in for the full 90 minutes. It's just what you want from the engine of the team. And then also to bag a goal, you know, fair play to Ben. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I don't know if Mick can hear us, if Mick's still with us, and we're asking about Rathman. It's probably ordering his KFC. He doesn't appear to be able to hear us. That's fine. Ben, Daniel, you were at game last year at Rathbone. It's just, as we talked about on the first goal, it was crucial to that because he's not unwillingness to give up the ball. Again, it's about Wiles. It's not about being the midfielder. You need Rathbone. You need somebody like Rathbone in your team to do that job.
Yeah, it's like we said before Mick and Ben came on. We all thought we'd have a bit of an issue in midfield without Crooksy, but we seem to have got Rathbone in for what feels like an absolute steal. And he's just sort of just took the torch and carried it on. But he's like the exact opposite of Crooks. You know, Crooks was massive and could knock a football about, but Rathbone's quite small, but he can run forever. You know, I swear sometimes he's about 6 from on pitch because you'll see him over this side and then he's suddenly over here, and it's like he's got a teleporter in his pocket. He's nicked it from Rick and Morty and just teleports about the pitch. But I think overall, Rathbone was a little bit off his best overall. But if that's him off his best and he's still an exceptional footballer, no issue with it at all.
Yeah, I think that's fair. We had Mick, now we've lost Mick. Mick, are you with us?
I'm still here. Yeah, I'm still with you.
Excellent.
I think there's an argument to say that Rathbone is probably a better player than Crooks. He offers you more. I think he gives you more. It certainly gives you a lot harder work, and he offers a goal threat as well.
Before we go on, I thought you were going to say there's an argument at KFC. That's why I started laughing. That's what I thought you were going to say.
They've run out of chips and they're arguing.
Right, a chicken again. Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a Rotherham fan. I'm reluctant to say it because I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. But this team
It can be if you want, mate.
As long as you film it, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Turn your camera on and we'll watch it. I'm reluctant to say because I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and in May this gets clipped, Danny. But this team looks like they're on the verge of something special. They've got everything you want. If you could design a football team, you want a solid keeper, you want a very solid centre-back who you've got in Woody, you want a youngish centre-back who's got a bit about him in Reg. You've got Icky there as well. You've got a midfield three that currently played yesterday, which is a midfield three you want. You want Pearce out wide, you want a big man who can score, a seasoned goal scorer next to him, Will Grigg, and squad depth. We've got everything we need on paper, and 12 games in it, whatever it is. We've got everything we need to push for, well, effectively the title as things stand.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who were pegging us for, or upwards of 10th, me included, like upwards of 10th would be good, but I think that's because League One looked so difficult. Again, on paper, it looked really difficult. But to see how this squad's come together and how well they're gelling, I mean, there's no argument against us going for the title. I mean, it sounds insane to say something like that when we're 12 games in. But on the counter side, why not? Why can't we push on and try and do it? I mean, this is one of our strongest, if not one. Start again, put my teeth back in. It's one of our strongest starts to a third-tier season, and I think it's our strongest ever start under the League One label.
Yes.
And it's like the other strongest seasons that we've had in terms of similar points haulage to games. We've won promotion from those seasons as well. We've won promotion from seasons with lesser points haulage. And Rotherham are a team that starts a season slowly. And if this is us starting our season slowly, heaven forbid what's going to happen in December and January.
Yeah.
And, it'd be nice to add an hat-trick of third division titles. I think that's what we should go for, make it a third one.
Why not? The last time we started this well at third tier level was, by my records, it was 1950-51, where we started this well, and we ended up winning the title that season.
Was that a good season, mate?
Listen, there's a long way to go yet. A long, long way to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Didn't you play in that season, mate?
No, I was injured, mate. I was injured that season.
God. But on this, Ben, it's how teams react when things aren't going well, and we are going to have a spell where things don't go well. We're going to have a run of games where we don't win for 5 games. Even if you win league, that's going to happen, and that's the sign of a team that gets promoted. If we do lose 2 or 3, it's how we react then that is going to be the key factor in our season.
Well, what happens with champions is you don't necessarily lose games. You have a spell of 6-7 games where you have really bad performances, but you still find a way to get something from that, whether it be a draw or a win. That's always what champions do. They'll play crap, get absolutely battered, and get a scruffy corner goal in last minute to win game. You know what I mean? That's just what champions do. So, yeah, I mean, we've always been a team that's been underdog, so I don't see any I don't foresee any problems coming when things don't go to plan, because when do things go to plan? But yeah, I mean, whatever. This team is unreal. We said it. I was speaking to Mick, or I don't know who it was, like 3-4 years ago, 2 years ago. It was like, this team could be best team I've ever seen, or one of the best Rotherham teams. And now we've got Will Grigg, who's an established goal scorer. I hate that term, but an established goal scorer. Gio, who's just Gio and his hours. Wiles and his hours. Smith and his hours. Johansson and his hours. Like, what else do you want? Like, we've got best team in division for me by a mile.
I hate this. I'm getting excited just talking about it. I'm just getting giddy thinking about it, and I know it's going to probably get me heartbroken again, as we always do as Rotherham fans, but you can't argue. This is the thing with these conversations, Mick. You can't argue anything Ben's just said. That's how things are right now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% it is. But we're 12 or 13 games in. We've got a long way to go yet. And we've got to just keep our feet on the ground. He's absolutely right. I've not seen anybody in this division that can come close to us at the moment, that can even touch us. But it's early doors, and somebody will at some stage, like Fleetwood proved to us a few weeks ago. You know, so it is what it is. We just got to keep our heads down. We've certainly got enough quality to finish well and truly in promotion spots in this division, but it's a long way to go yet.
Yeah, no, and it just. Let's go through some more comments. Liam McGarry thought Miller was very good yesterday. I got some great crossing and would consider keeping him in the starting 11. Yeah, the only person that gets in front of him is possibly Ferguson. But as Liam McGarry comes in again, he thinks he needs pace out wide with Gio Miller. He likes Ferguson, but Miller seems to work much better. Yeah, Ferguson relies on his trickiness, doesn't he? He relies on going back and trying to beat the man and twisty and turn. He's not as quick as Miller. There's two good options to have. Two very good options to have. Brian Vernon backs up our chat on the midfielders. Thinks the best midfield we've had for years. And it would give a fair few championship midfield run for their money. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Ardak, Mick thinks that can't compare Crooksey and Rathbone. They do different things in the team. Both are called what they do. I wish we were like Crooksey and Rathbone together. I mean, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Could like more Wise, that size difference, wouldn't it?
It would, wouldn't it? Yeah. But the thing is about if Rathbone adds goals to his games, which he can, because we got a shot yesterday, then he is. We are asking to play further forward than we would ask somebody else to play. So there are comparisons. I know they are different, but there certainly are comparisons. John C. Mick, get your feet off the ground and start flying. Come on, Mick, get carried away in the excitement. I agree, John. Brilliant.
Yeah, cheers, John. I'll do that, mate. I'll do that. In the meantime, I'm going to sit here and eat my KFC and listen to everybody else. So keep going, boys.
All right, thank you very much.
What you got, mate?
Let us know when you're done. Oh, yeah, what you got?
Just a standard chicken burger and chips, mate.
What kind of
no
chicken
boneless
burgers? They
banquet?
don't just do chicken burgers.
I
do
don't know. It's just a burger with chicken. A chicken burger with, I don't know. See you in a bit.
It's KFC. It's obviously going to be a chicken burger. Sorry, everybody. John S. is a Portsmouth fan. Rotherham fan in Portsmouth. We're having a great old time down there. I can see why. He's getting funny walks walking Pompey in his Rotherham scarf. Get me words
He'll have
right.
sour grapes thrown at him soon.
Yeah. Any other points or topics you want to cover from the Portsmouth game before I move on to not quite the Wycombe game, but any other topics? I think I've covered most of it. I think we've covered almost every single player, to be honest.
All I'll say is we seem to win the third division every 30 years, and it's been 30 years since the last one, so we're due one.
We are due one. It'll be 31, won't it? Because it's 22 will win in. So we are overdue one. Is what you're trying. We are overdue.
We're due one. It's like when they say about when we're due big storms, it's like, we're due one for every 400 years, and we're due one. It's like, exactly. Over the third division league titles as well. We're due one.
Yeah. The other big news from this less than sunny Sunday afternoon, actually. Stuart Marsh brings up the topic of what are the chances of the BBC game, BBC being on telly for the Bromley game. It would like a bit of national coverage. Bogus and thought it would be nice as well. Tea bags lasted longer than the cup than we normally do on some stew. Bromley have been drawn the task of coming to New York Stadium. In I think 3 or 4 weeks' time. It's a home tie on the weekend of the 6th and 7th of November is when it's been drawn to be played. To answer the question about TV, I will be amazed if it's on telly just because we're at home. If we were away from home, I think it'd be nailed on being on telly, like the Solihull game was 2 years ago. But I don't think this will be on television.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
You weren't even doing this podcast back then, Ben.
Was that before COVID?
Pre-COVID, 2019, yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
2nd of December 2019. I remember it well because I smuggled my whiskey flask onto the bus that we were on.
Fantastic. We didn't go to that game. We couldn't go to a Monday night game. And because they moved it from a Saturday, I'd love to go to Solihull. And then we had to watch it on telly, which weren't too bad either, to be fair.
You might have seen me on the telly then, because I was nearly over at Barry when we scored our first one.
Yeah. It's not a bad draw, to be fair, Ben. for me, at this stage of the tournament, home tie, non-league club, off we go.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, God,
I
here
don't
we go.
really want to play. I don't want to. What I don't want to do yet is get through to the third round, get I don't know, Bournemouth away or somewhere,
Oh, yeah.
or Southampton
good.
away, like a not very good
Aston.
away day, guaranteed loss. It's like, what's the point? Because for me, it just wastes 3 games. Like,
True.
if I'm looking long term, like, it just doesn't make sense for you to try and waste players, because yeah, it's a game and you want to win 100%. But if you're looking at a manager's perspective, why would I want to win this game? What benefits do I get? 50 grand or 10 grand for prize money? Like, that's what it is on Football Manager. I don't know what it is in real life.
I think it's about 20 grand for the
20
Not
grand
much more anymore.
I mean, if you want 20
while
grand,
we're talking,
take
I'll have a
it,
look.
but if you want 20 grand, take it. But for me, it's give some Grattan, is that his name? Southern
Yes.
Hill,
Yeah.
give all them 90 minutes or 80 minutes, give Woody 5 minutes or something, just to keep him fresh.
But that's what it does, I suppose. It gives you a chance to rest the players. I wouldn't play Woody in those games because it gives him a week or two off. I think it comes up around the international break as well. The international break is scheduled to be the week after the FA Cup.
Another
international break. Yeah. So after the Sunderland game on the 30th, although when's the Charlton game been rearranged for, Danny? Do you know?
2nd of November.
So after the Charlton game on the 2nd of November, we're unlikely to have another league game until the 20th of November.
Yeah, because I mean, the Shrewsbury game's going to get called off. It's actually nailed on, isn't it?
Well, Chio's going to get called back up, isn't he? Shane Ferguson probably
KO
will, and you assume Coyote will.
Yeah.
Chio scored, didn't he?
He did.
No, scored header. Ridiculous.
Leaping header.
Yeah. So an FA Cup first round winners get 22,500. FA Cup second round winners get 34,000, and then if you win the third round, you get 82,000. So it's helpful money, but without wanting to sound too sort of greedy, we're in quite a good position. We don't need 100 grand. It'd be nice if somebody said, "Here's 100 grand." We're not going to say no, but it wouldn't be worth ruining our season. If it did ruin our season, I don't think it would.
Well, you never know, do you? Bring Smith on 5 minutes, tears ACL. I know that's. We imagine worst case possible, but you never know, do you?
No,
so.
That's true. That's very true. As Ardoc mentions, Bromley are doing well in the National League. They're very similar to that in terms of Solihull. Solihull were up there around the time we played them. Well, last time I checked, Bromley were around 5th in the league. So
it'll be an harder game than people expect, I think.
Yeah, it will.
We won't look Bromley. If we were to win, it'll be by a couple of goals because they will put a fight in 100%.
It's similar to the Solihull one that people hear the name and they aren't a Football League name, so you assume you're going to batter them. Whereas if you got Stockport, for example, people think, they're Stockport, then they might be tough. But this is probably going to be a tougher game than Stockport, for example.
Stockport in Football League?
Used to be.
Yeah.
They're pretty successful as well.
I think I'm too young for that.
We played them at Don Valley. So you were there.
If you just said Hartlepool, then Carlisle. No, not Carlisle.
They're both at Football League.
Who am I thinking of? I know. Who am I thinking of? Who am I thinking of?
This is what we have you on for, Ben.
I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of someone who went to Football League and come back.
There's loads. What are you thinking? Pepe Lacey, who I spoke to for the Portsmouth channel, we both predicted 1-1, as I predicted on this show on Friday.
It was at one point.
It was at one point, so I'm claiming some sort of victory for that. It was also 1-0, so when you pick 1-0, you get, I'm sure the bookers would pay off a little bit if you win. If you just say it was at 1.1-0, I'm sure that's how it works. Danny, opinions on Freddie when he came on from Harvey Quick. Last point on the previous game. I thought he did okay. I thought his work was okay. I know he fluffed his chance, but the work rate was there for the most part.
Yeah, I think the main downside was that he fluffed his chance, but I'm crediting that to him seeing the flag go up because he was positioned to see where the flag was. So if you've seen flag go up, you're obviously not going to try and rifle it in. You're just going to just sort of swing your leg at it because you've got the momentum. But in terms of work rate, big improvement from Freddie. I think I got it on camera in the vlog. There's this one moment where Portsmouth are trying to break away down the right hand side, and Freddie just comes in, just barges him straight off the ball. And it's like, yes, that's what we want to see. We want Freddie to be physical, but also to press the ball, which he did in front of the cop end as well. So in terms of work rate, Freddie did really well. It's just a shame that he didn't bag or had a clear-cut chance. But, you know, it'll come to him. And it's getting to the point now where you're starting to will him to score because you want him to. If you see that work rate from him, you just want him to score now.
I know I said last point on the game, but I suppose we can't talk about the game. We had to talk about good old George Hurst coming on. Obviously, you weren't there then, so I can't ask you about it, Danny, but he's not changed, has he? Bless him.
No.
Well, Mick's back with us. Mick, go on. George Hurst.
It just quite amused me that the first thing he did when he came on was took Richard Wood out in mid-air in an attempt to try and insert himself on defence, and then never touched ball again because Woody just took him out again. He's got a lot to learn as George Hurst. A lot to learn. I think he'll be a decent player. At League Two,
at what
League
level,
Two, lower end of League One level potentially. I just don't think he's got it to be much higher than that.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Bless him. He tries. That's all. That's literally all the only positive you can give him. Which is not very good.
I'm just glad Wood floored him afterwards.
I said this to Mick. As soon as he did that to Woody, you could see Woody go over to Reg, and they were talking about it. And for me, Woody's saying something along the lines of, "Right, cover me, because I'm going to dive in on the next one," and he did.
Yeah, just going, hey, watch this, bang.
Yeah, I can't believe he did that to Richard Wood. That's crazy.
It's like the whole wolf in the wild thing. Like the young pup has come to assert his dominance on the alpha male, and gets a good biting on him, but then the alpha just goes no, and off he goes.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Pepe Lacey back on from the Portsmouth. He had an 8-hour day's travelling, lost 4-1, and didn't bring his coat on a very cold Saturday afternoon.
Was it cold?
It was quite cold. Yeah. If you want any Portsmouth reaction for this, go follow Pepe Lacey on Twitter. You'll see he does. I spoke to him last week. So any information about you want to see their side of things, go over there and have a look. Because I think for the most part they've been quite positive. Certainly Danny Cowley was. Owen O'B, when we've mentioned this, but when Ogbene came on, thought the game changed. They've got pace to burn. Need to get him a new contract. I think we will leave it till late and lose a few in the summer. I'm pretty confident he has a extension clause, at least a 1-year extension clause. But
so this is why we need £20,000 from the FA Cup. We can start dishing it out, going, just sign a new contract and we'll give you this bonus.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Josh Smith. Best moment was when Wiles out-muscled their play off the ball and their play retaliated by picking him up and attempting to throw him.
Yeah, it turned into rugby for a minute then.
It did. Yes, it was a very, very good day. I've got a couple more on FA Cup ones. John C wants Newcastle in the third round. That will be hilarious. On Newcastle, I think we should point out that obviously there was a fan that was taken ill at the game Newcastle today. Another reminder of why the defibrillators are a fantastic thing to have at football grounds. So hats off to the medics, the physios, and the players as well. The players were superb by pointing out to the referee the issue that was going off in the stand. And I know this is completely off topic, but by all accounts, the fan is doing all right, and that's fantastic. That really is great news. It was at Newcastle, yeah. We could put a podcast on the game. Yeah. It was home end, yeah.
I was going to say because away end, like.
Well, they need a helicopter to get up there.
Yeah, exactly. Glad it's on your way in.
Yeah. So let's move forward. We have Wycombe.
But I need to go because I've got some stupid college work to do because college decided to be college. So let's go.
Okay. It was a pleasure to have with you for the 20 minutes. We'll maybe see you again soon, I suppose.
Oh, all right.
See you,
I got to train at Tottenham Stadium, by the way. But,
are you going to leave that and then leave, or are you going to wait till every hour, isn't it?
That was amazing. I got to use the changing rooms, and I took a slash where Harry Kane took a slash. and dried
Wait,
his hands where dried my hands where Son's dried his hands before, and I got taped up. Well, I got taped up on the training table.
Would you like me to ruin what you just said? The footballers in the NFL have a different changing room.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, because the NFL ones are huge, aren't they? They're absolutely
they
ridiculous. If you watched All or Nothing, the Spurs documentary, the dressing room, it's just like a circular thing. It's relatively small, so you didn't.
Well, I had one where the NFL players.
Yeah, I'll do.
Can't believe you burst his bubble like that, Matt.
I know. I can't believe you're trying to ruin my moment.
Sorry, man. Oh, anyway, sod off.
I need to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Hello, let's change the picture.
I thought you were going to say something else about that dressing room. I took where's this going?
Yeah. On to Wycombe. By far the hardest match against Wycombe coming up, and we want to see a win, but see a defeat. Truly hopes is wrong. Mick, I was hoping you would be with us for the Wycombe preview, so you could say something that upsets Wycombe fans, like Sheffield Wednesday fans, because I know you like their time-wasting tactics.
Oh, I love watching Wycombe play football for the 13 minutes out of the 90 that they actually get the ball in play. Yeah. It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a difficult game because they're going to make it a difficult game. Like I say, if the ball's in play for more than 20 minutes out of the 90, we're going to be very lucky. So we've got to make it count. We are a much better side than they are, a much stronger side. So it's going to be difficult. But yeah, we should be able to have enough to overcome them, I think.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. They're going to want to play one way, Danny, and they want to frustrate us. Portsmouth did it for a little bit. Wycombe are better at that, and I think they'll be probably if their team's going to be more successful at it against us, it's probably going to be Wycombe.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last time we played him, the ball was in play for 38 minutes out of the whole 90, so we didn't get a full half of football. But I think this is where our pace would come into it, like we say about keeping. I can't remember whose comment it was, but someone said about keeping Miller in the side. I agree, because the way we play around Wycombe trying to frustrate us is by having the pace on the wings and probably just playing old-fashioned football. Out wide to fast ones, ball into mixer, someone get your head on it and we'll score. And I think that is probably the way we'd break Wycombe down. And as we've shown against Portsmouth, we've got pace out wide. We've got Smith, Woods, Grigg, even Freddie and Chio who can get their head on it. So yeah, I think that's how we play around Wycombe. If we apply that correctly, we'll win. But if we allow Wycombe to play too much the way they want to, then they'll probably nag a goal like last time.
Yeah, a couple of stats. I've just literally flicked over to Twitter to have a look. And Tom Hancock, who is a journalist for Wycombe, a couple of interesting stats, really. Wycombe have scored the most goals in the opening 15 minutes in League One this season with 7, and the highest proportion of overall goals. We've won all games in which they've scored early. And that's the key part of that game plan, making it really. If you're going to be frustrating and going to upset people, you have to get that early goal. If you don't get the early goal, then the frustration game is not really going to work. But they clearly are getting those early goals.
They are, but again, like we've said with other teams, who have they played so far? You know, who have they beaten? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. It might be they've beaten Sunderland, Wigan, and whoever else. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? We'll have to wait and see. If they do get that early goal, then so be it. But I still think that we're going to have enough to beat them.
Yeah, they've drawn with Wigan, lost to Sunderland, drawn with Oxford, lost to MK Dons twice, but one of them were in the cup. Yeah, but you could just say about us. We lost to Wigan and beat Pompey. That's it really for us. But I suppose next week or so we'll find out where we are. On the flip side of the stat I've just mentioned from Tom Hancock. Where were we? No, I've lost where I were. Ignore that. What changes are you making, Danny, for Tuesday? We think Icky's going to be out, so let's assume that is going to be the case. And Victor's, from what Warren said, it's probably a 50-50 shot for Victor whether he plays or not. So bearing in mind that, what changes, if any, are you making other than the obvious?
I don't think it's a massive issue having Victor rested for a game just to make sure he's all right, because we've got Vickers, and Vickers is just equal to Victor, really, in terms of quality at this level. So that's not a massive hiccup. Same with Icky. We can play hard in there. Matic can come in. So again, it's not a massive issue. But I would keep Harding on that left centre-back side because of how well he played against Pompey. Then possibly bring Chio in and start him instead of having him on the bench, just so we get that pace early on and we can upset Wycombe's system. Because like you say, if they score early and they win, we need to stop them scoring early and try and score early ourselves and effectively shell-shock them a little bit. So we can do that. And then other than that, I'd say if players need a rest, then maybe smudge, bring Freddie into it. But other than that, I wouldn't change a massive amount. Like, obviously, players that you want to play the majority of the game on Saturday, you'd leave on the pitch for less time or have them on the bench to start. But other than that, I think same way, just with obvious changes, really.
Yeah. Make any thoughts on the changes?
Yeah, I think we've got to be bear in mind, or be mindful of the fact that they're going to have the big lad, Dak and Fenwell up front. So you're going to need some experience in that back four, in that back line, some experience and some strength. So yeah, I think like Danny said there, we've got plenty of strength in depth there to cover it whichever way Warney decides to go with that back five, back three, whatever. But I think Chio has to start definitely. Because his pace is going to cause them a lot of problems.
Yeah, I think it'll take about half an hour for Chio to run around the beast. John C reckons 4-0 to the Millers. Are we underselling Rotherham United, Danny? We did this in the pre-match for Portsmouth. Are we just being a little bit? Well, are we underselling us? I don't know.
I think because we've had the experience of knowing how good we are but not performing to our best, we sort of underplay it a little bit. So we're not, probably because we're not overly caught out when it comes back round again. But I think I can see where John's coming from about battering Wycombe 4-0, because I still don't think we've reached that point where we have seriously battered a team. Like we had the 10-minute spell against Portsmouth, but it wasn't a rounded battering, if you like. Yeah. So there is still one team that's going to get absolutely pasted. And you could argue it was Portsmouth because we've just won 4-1 in the cup and in the league in consecutive games, either side of an international break.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think because Wycombe have a very set game plan, which is a difficult game plan to break down, I think it'll be maybe 2. If we apply ourselves correctly, it could be 2. But if we get caught out and Wycombe score early, then I don't know what's going to happen. They might just sit on it like they do normally.
There's no doubt they will.
Yeah.
There's no doubt if they get that early goal, then we're going to have to change our game plan accordingly, because, like we said earlier on, that ball will not be in play, or will be in play as little as they possibly can to frustrate us. So yeah, if they get the early goal, it might be a different matter. But yeah, sorry for interrupting.
No, it's just Carl Scott agrees with you. He says reading on the Wycombe game against Don at the weekend, they wasted time over and over again. That's them. We remember the get home game against them last season and the season before when obviously the season they ended up getting promoted. Both games they got early goals and sat in and killed the game. And if that's how you want to play, that's fantastic. It's successful for him. It's just frustrating as opposition fan. Wycombe fans clearly enjoy it, but that's how they want to play. Fair play to them.
As supporters, we can have an influence on that because we know that that's going to happen from the first 5 minutes. So we need to be on the referee's case from the first 5 minutes about any sort of time wasting. And really, I mean, it's only a little bit of help, but you know what I mean. Let's see if we can start to influence the referee, because other teams and other clubs seem to be able to do it.
Well, that brings me quite nicely onto my next topic, Mick. The referee for Tuesday night. The referee for the next game is scheduled. Again, this may change because this announced last week. The referee is scheduled with Bobby Madley, former Premier League referee, and famous for other things. Unfortunately for him, will be reffing us for the first time since 2013. He last refereed us against MK Dons, although I think he might have done a friendly. I seem to remember him being at New York at some point. But
he did a friendly beginning of the season.
Yeah, he's an experienced referee. Actually, before his break for English football, he was a regular Premier League referee. So you would hope that he has that knowledge and that know-how to stop teams doing that. You stop disrupting the game. We'll wait and see. I don't put much money on that, to be honest with you. We've gone massively long, so let's just put some pointless predictions in again, because we'll obviously get them wrong, and then we will leave. Mick, as you're on your way home, you can give us your prediction first.
I think we'll win 2-1. I think they will score first, but I think we'll break them down and frustrate them. We'll break them down and grab a win out of it.
Okay, fair enough. Danny?
I agree with Mick. I think if Wycombe do score first, we have the persistence, if you like, to break through teams in the second half. So if Wycombe do score first, we'll probably win 2-1. But if we stop them scoring first, it could be 2 or 3-0 to us. So I'm gonna stick with Mick. I'm gonna say 2-1.
I like style. I'm gonna go 2-0. I've got confidence in this defence at the minute. I'm positive. Other than that one mistake, we didn't look like conceding.
You could say it wasn't the defence's mistake; it was midfield.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. John S thinks 3-1. Harvey Colvick thinks 3-0. Nice to see some positivity. Let's hope the positivity continues, not just on Tuesday, but over the next 2 or 3 weeks towards the end of the month. Because, like I said, Paul wants in his pre-match to Portsmouth. By the end of the month, we'll have a really good idea of where we are as a team, and I think that's a fair assessment. So we're going to finish there. Thank you all for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. We've come to 350 subscribers on YouTube. So if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you've subscribed. If you're not watching on YouTube, go over to YouTube and subscribe. Because I haven't told Mick this, so this will be a surprise to Mick. The Kirk Broadfoot interview will be out on Thursday morning. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to put that on Thursday morning for everybody to listen to. Once we've done a little bit of editing from little parts. Like I said, there's some really good stuff in there, some really interesting stuff from his time at the club. You will want to listen to that. If you're a Rotherham fan, you will definitely want to listen to it. And that's not me overselling this one, sorry.
Just as well I've edited it then, isn't it, already?
Oh, there you go. It's ready to go. So I just need to do my part and edit the audio, and we're ready to go. Keep an eye on the socials for that. And like I said, subscribe to iTunes. If you're on iTunes, subscribe to there because you'll get it automatically, or Spotify. Same with YouTube, subscribe because you'll get it automatically as and when it's ready. And I said we'll be back for the next episode on Thursday night / Friday morning for the audio, where we'll be looking back at Wycombe, looking ahead to MK Dons. And I think I've took everything off the list that we need to talk about. So, Danny, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you with me for the full episode, not like these part-timers.
Yeah, no worries. Always a pleasure.
And Mick, thank you for letting us be with you on part of your journey home from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I enjoyed my KFC as well, so thanks for that.
I suppose that's the most important part for you, isn't it?
100%.
Thank you for watching.
Generic chicken sandwich.
Yeah, just chicken with 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah.
We'll see you all we'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Freddie's on one-on-one. Freddie turning shoot. Can Freddie go shot? Yeah!